I can't tell you how many times I work with business owners and they say, man, I can't get clients and I just need more clients. And I say, well, what are you doing for marketing? And they say, oh, I don't really have a marketing budget.
I'm not even really posting on
Facebook
or Instagram.
Well, that's how you get clients.
Exactly.
You have to kind of focus on marketing. Marketing is a must, especially in 2020, our day and age. You have to be online. Change my mind.
There's no way.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Monarch Social Podcast, where we discuss all things digital marketing.
Everything.
So anyways, how was your week, Koa?
It was good, man. We had a busy week this week.
Yeah? What was the highlight?
Well, I think the big highlight is honestly that it's Halloween. What, tomorrow?
Yeah, Halloween's tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit of spooky over the weekend.
I dressed up last night as a skeleton.
Did you?
Yeah, we did some photos. I did a photo shoot last night.
What kind of skeleton?
I was actually the Evan Peters from American Horror Story, first season. He dresses up as a skeleton, so I did that look.
Like the face paint and stuff?
With the face paint, the black jacket,
cool.
everything. So it's pretty cool. So
nice, dude. I'm gonna be a army man.
An army man?
Tonight, yeah. We're gonna bust out some good old camo. Get after it.
You painting your face?
Of course. Can't be army man without some face paint on now.
Well, guys, last week we dropped our first episode and we had an amazing response. I mean, we put it on Apple Music, Spotify. We have it obviously on our YouTube. And you can find us kind of anywhere. And we had a great response to that.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
It was good for a first one.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought it was really good, actually. I thought, I've never done a podcast. I know you've been on a couple podcasts, but
yeah.
I thought it came out pretty clean.
Yeah, I think we got some really good feedback, and so we're going to be implementing some things we want to get better, things we want to change. But I think overall it was really good. I think we had a really good response, like I said, and it's only up from there. So
yes, exactly.
All right, so today's episode is going to be the social media landscape, your personal guide to having an online presence.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so what we want to talk about is in business, a lot of times you don't know where to start. And there's a lot that you can do, and it can be overwhelming. And so what we want to do today is kind of talk about working with agencies and the different type of agencies there are.
Yeah.
Where to start, what to expect, what to know, what to look out for. And then we want to go through those different types of agencies. So if you're a small business owner and you don't know what to do with marketing, hopefully this adds some value. So you know what to do. So you know what to look for and kind of some of the pitfalls and the costs and low cost versus high cost. So that's what
I feel like anytime you're spending money, you need to really do your research on what you're going to be spending that money on.
So hopefully this helps.
Yes.
So there's two mindsets to marketing. For me, it's the low and slow or fast and hot. That means if you have a budget, you can go fast. If you don't have a marketing budget, it's a little slower.
Right.
With that, we're going to, on one end of those, you have kind of like the posting. You can start posting. That doesn't cost you really any money. It's just your time.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of like the organic and then paid.
Exactly. So organic growth in a business is generally typically a lot slower than paying for growth.
Absolutely. But I also think it's necessary. It's one of those things that you have to kind of have those organic things. You have to be consistent with your posts. It's kind of that foundation level stuff that you have to do.
For sure. I mean,
for any business.
I can't tell you how many times I work with business owners and they say, man, I can't get clients and I just need more clients. And I say, well, what are you doing for marketing? And they say, oh, I don't really have a marketing budget.
I'm not even really posting on
Facebook
or Instagram.
Well, that's how you get clients.
Exactly.
You have to kind of focus on marketing. Marketing is a must, especially in 2020, our day and age. You have to be online. Change my mind.
There's no way.
Okay, that's right. So you have to be online. And so, yeah, it's super important for any business owner to know that if you're not doing anything, doing something is better than nothing, obviously. So
a simple post once a week can make it can make a big difference.
Yeah, I have this saying, and I say everything in life is karate. And what I mean by that is in karate, there's different belts, right? And so if there's a business owner out there that's not doing anything, and all of a sudden they just start posting once a week on Facebook. That's better than doing nothing. That's like your white belt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then you start posting 3 times and doing stories. That's maybe your like yellow belt.
Yep.
And so everything in life's karate. And so you can start off really slow and it will work, or you can go to the max, balls to the wall, and go super quick. And there's a lot.
At the same time, it's kind of like going back to that karate method or whatever you're saying.
Yeah, analogy.
You kind of need to go through those phases though. Some people, if you start at white belt and you jump clear to black belt, there can be problems with doing that.
And it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a one-man show. Like if you're a solopreneur, if you're like a business, I can think of a lot in my head. Like let's say that you're a massage therapist and you started your own little thing. It's just you. You don't have employees. Maybe you're a barber.
Right.
You're just you, but you have a business and you don't have employees. Doing social media and doing social media right, or online marketing right, it could be daunting, but just doing those little things at a time, you'll get better at it. And then you just add to your arsenal of what you're marketing and really tightening up that ship. So a question that I had for you, Koa, is how long, let's say a business owner starts marketing online, starts using the internet, social medias, whatever. How long does it typically take to see results?
I would say between 3 to 6, even all the way up to a year, depending on what the industry is.
Yeah, I think depending if it's organic or paid, you're going to see a very wide range. So that's a question that we get a lot, Makoa and I, is, hey,
how long is this going to take?
When am I going to see results? And they think that, we run an ad, they're going to get like 100 customers, and it's not like that.
Right.
Especially if you have a business and you haven't been doing any sort of marketing.
Exactly. I feel like that's a huge misunderstanding is people think they can just jump right into paid ads and that's going to all of a sudden
fix
flip
everything.
On the switch of consistent sales and leads.
Yeah, they think it's like a light switch that they just turn on and all of a sudden they're going to have customers, and it doesn't typically work like that.
Right.
Every once in a while there's a company that comes along and we run something and it just blows up almost immediately, but for the most part, generally
on the product.
speaking, it takes time. So I want business owners out there to know that if you start posting on Facebook, if you start running ads, it will take time. The organic stuff will take longer than the paid stuff. So just know that.
Yes.
Now, when we get into agencies, what recommendations would you have when we start looking? What is there to look for when we start looking for an agency? And there's different types, and we'll get into that in a second. But what do we look for in an agency? What are some tips and tricks that we could tell business owners what to keep their eye out for?
Right. Well, the first thing is you kind of have to look at your company as a whole and see what your needs are.
What your end goal is?
Yes. Define your end goal and then also kind of come up with a game plan of, okay, this is a strategy that I'm going to take to get to that end goal.
Yeah.
And based on, once you figure that out, that's when you can kind of shop around because there's so many different types of agencies that do so many different types of things.
I think to like really make it, like to bring it home is let's imagine 2 types of clients. One client is an older client that doesn't like social media. They don't know how to post. They don't like posting. They're not creative, but they have a really great service or product.
Right.
That person might want to consider hiring someone to post for them, to have a social media management team.
Just have a presence.
Yeah. Now you take someone that might be a little younger, might be a millennial, Gen Z.
That already is doing posting.
That's already super social, but now they want to do paid ads, but they don't know how to run paid ads. They've never done paid ads before. Right. They might want to consider doing paid reach, and that's maybe where they put their money. Or they might want an awesome video because they don't do video, and now they want to put their money into some video. So it just really depends. Typically speaking, when you work with an ad agency, it will be anywhere, in my experience, on the low end about $300 a month and up. A couple $1,000s a month.
I was going to say the $300 could get you like one service.
It could get you like one service,
like
maybe posting for you on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Or a video, a really short video.
Yes.
And so the budget comes down to just what your goals are, and that was really important that you said, Makoa, is you have to figure out what you're good at, what your company's already doing, and what your end goal is. Right. And that will help you decide what...
Kind of look at a marketing agency as an asset.
Yes.
It's your best teammate.
Yeah.
I like to consider marketing agencies salesmen because that's what we're doing. We're selling products. We're not doing the traditional selling where we're going out and knocking on doors or setting up meetings. We're trying to reach the masses But ultimately, we're being salesmen. You know, we're driving traffic to landing pages that ultimately
we want to we want to make your product and service look badass.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? There's a plethora of different ways, but that's what we're doing. We want to showcase what we're doing for you, and a good ad agency will find the right angle to find your demographic to do that.
Right.
So let's jump in, Koa, right to the different types of agencies. Now, with these different types of agencies that exist out there, these are the most common ones. Right. Now, there's agencies that are going to be a mix of these things. There's going to be agencies that might be that focus completely on other than what we have here. But typically speaking, these are the four main ones that you'll come across as a small business owner.
Yes.
All right. So number one is a content agency. What's that?
So
Koa?
Content, when we say content, that's graphics, that's videos, that's something that's digestible by a consumer visually, or even there's content that's written. You know, there's written content. It's something that's eye-catching. It's content.
Yeah.
Posts is the best way to say what content is. Me making a post is considered content.
Yeah, and in digital marketing, it's a wide spectrum. You have everything from the content from blog articles, all the way to like making 30-second Instagram videos.
Even GIFs, everything,
GIFs, all sorts of stuff. And so a content agency, you'll find that they supply content. They'll make you images, they make you the videos, and you'll have one of two types of content agencies. The agency that says, I'll make it all for you, and they'll give it to you. Do whatever the hell you want with it, but I'll produce the content for you.
Yep.
And then you'll get the agency that says, we'll produce it and we'll post it.
Yeah, we'll go one step ahead, and we do this with multiple accounts where we'll do your posting, and you can always know it's going to be consistent because it's the same person doing it.
And if you're savvy and you're comfortable posting, you could hire one of those companies that just
pump out content. That's one thing to know is typically if they're going to be posting for you, it's going to be a little bit more expensive than somebody that just creates the content and then gives the content to you.
Yeah. And that's kind of on the lower end of things. That's kind of like where I think that people could start if you have no idea to where to start. And this brings us to our second category as well, is a social media management agency. Now, they do everything that we talked about, but now they interact with you. So a social media management is where they manage your social media. They
almost act as if they are you.
Yeah, they act as if they are you. They respond, they reply, they go like other people's posts, comment on other people's things, they produce content, they post it for you. And those type of agencies I think are pretty common. I think that's a really common agency that you'll come across. They're saying, hey, I want to take over your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram. We'll make the content. We'll post it. We'll respond. We'll message you if we have questions.
I feel like that's the most common because typically they're the most affordable because they are, in all reality, anybody can do that. Anybody can make a post. Anybody can be social on social media and like and comment on other people's stuff. And so I think because of that, that's, a social media management agency is typically the most affordable.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fit for a company that is just extremely busy.
Yes.
And they just don't have time to do that type of stuff, and they want to still have that professional feel.
Yeah, and they just don't like posting.
Exactly.
There's a lot of business owners that don't even have Facebook.
Right.
But they know they should be on Facebook. That type of agency would be great for them because that agency will come in and even create a Facebook, create an Instagram.
Get all the basic channels set up and then manage those channels.
Yep. No, exactly.
And when we say social media, a lot of times people just think Facebook, Instagram, but there's so many different social medias.
So many. There's Pinterest and Twitter and LinkedIn. And
And again, if TikTok. You find a good social media management company, they can choose the business owner can choose which ones they want. But if a good management agency is doing their job, they can read data even based off of posts and say, okay, look, Instagram is not performing as well as Facebook, or test other avenues. Twitter. Let's take Twitter in here and see if Twitter is really where your audience is and your demographic is. And that's some things to look for when you're working with an agency, is to make sure that they're doing their job and kind of getting you guys in all those avenues so you can then make an educated decision.
Exactly, because like I said, a lot of people that have had bad experiences is typically when an agency or a person is just posting random shit for them.
Yes.
And there's no rhyme or reason. They're just kind of they put them on a schedule, and just so you guys know, usually when they post for you, we put it in a scheduler, and posts are scheduled out. So that's like industry standard. It's not like they're waking up every day and like, oh, I got to post today.
Yeah.
You're in a scheduler. It's going to be auto posted, usually, typically speaking.
Like a month out.
Like a month out even. And so that's just industry standard if you guys didn't know that. Back to what I was saying was, if you have someone and you're working with someone and they're just posting random content, I would look at that. A good social media marketer who starts posting for you will typically have a sales funnel.
Exactly.
So for like 1 month, let's say that you offer 3 services, okay? Let's say you're a spa and you do, let's say massages, fingernails, like pedicures and manicures, right? 1 month, they might focus a lot on the massages. Right. Rather than just being super sporadic and being like, oh, here's a picture of our storefront. Oh, here's a picture of our upsells that we have, like our lotions and creams, and oh, here's our massage. Like you're gonna have a person that knows what they're doing is actually focusing funneling them into becoming a client.
Yeah,
that's how you warm them up, and that goes back to when we were talking about touching them 9 to 13 times. That's how you're touching them with the massage 9 to 13 times.
Yes, and slowly warming those customers up.
Yeah. Exactly. So those are some tips and tricks for you for that type of agency. That brings us to our next type of agency. Now, Koa, I put this one in here because you don't necessarily think of this one as a social media management agency. You don't typically think of this as an agency, but it is so common in our space.
Absolutely.
And there are tons of companies that will offer this, and they'll do this plus something.
I was going to say, I have a love-hate relationship with this.
I do too. I think it's the wild west right now, but it is SEO agency. So a lot of people, they want to make you search engine optimize. That's what SEO is, search engine optimization. So
yeah, a lot of people don't know that. It stands for search engine optimization.
And all that means is if they search for you on Google, you want to come up first. Let's go back to the spa. If they put in spa Utah and you happen to be in Utah, you want to be number 1.
Exactly. It's always a battle on Google.
Yeah, on Google.
I mean, it's a battle on all search platforms, but obviously everybody knows Google's the king when it comes to search.
So small businesses will, when they start shopping agencies or looking for people to help them, it is important to be on that first page. And so you're going to get a lot of agencies that we do SEO and social media content and post for you, or we do this and that. I want business owners to know how important having a website is too. When we talk about digital marketing, I think that's like the first forefront of everything. I think a website is almost more important.
It's your online store.
Yeah, it's your online. It's like the first place.
And especially in this day and age, it's a lot of the times it's replacing brick and mortar locations.
Yeah, 100%. And so having a solid website that's mobile friendly, that's set up with SEO.
Yeah.
So much goes into that.
What I'll say is with SEO, kind of going back to what we were talking about, the slow grow versus the fast grow. SEO is kind of is a slower grow. It's one of those things you have to be doing backlinks. You have to be doing consistent stuff on your website for you to start ranking in SEO.
Yeah, with SEO, there's on-page SEO and there's off-page. So things that you can do on your website, things that you can do off your website that increase your SEO ranking on Google. Okay.
Right.
But it's super important, guys. SEO is it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing. It's not something that you pay for like 1 month and all of a sudden you rank better.
And see, that's exactly why I have a love-hate with SEO. And if I'm being 100% honest, that's exactly why I have that love-hate.
You have to be consistent, and it's like a monthly thing that you pay for SEO. And SEO can be freaking expensive. Like I know a company here in Utah that charges like $1,500 a month for SEO. But they do guarantee that they'll get you on the front page of Google.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So they do exist out there, but it can be pricey.
Like I was saying, the reason I have this love-hate with SEO is because of the next category that we're about to talk about.
Tell me about that. What's the next agency?
Which is paid advertising agency. And so just staying in line with Google. Yes, SEO does work. It's a long play. The fast play for SEO would be doing some paid advertising through Google Ads. Everybody sees it. And back in the day, it used to be even more daunting. You would see those ads, right? When you're searching anything on Google, you would see this big thing pop up right at the top, right? Say I was searching car dealerships. You would see this scary looking ad that said ad on it. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to touch this thing. Like, this is whoa, red flag, red flag. I would always go to the second listing.
Yeah.
But what Google has done is they've made that ad that pops up so nonchalant. Like, it's so small now that you don't even really realize that that's an ad.
Yep.
And that would be what I consider the fast grow when it comes versus SEO. It's like I can either rank through a long time of doing backlinks, or I can pay a little bit of money and have my
and I'll be number one every time.
Number one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with the paid advertising, what we're talking about specifically is paying an agency to do Google ads, Facebook ads, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yes.
You're paying an agency to get you
seen
in front of
those
a
channels.
larger audience. And so they're not just posting for you, they're actually running ads for you across those different platforms.
Right.
And like Makoa said, I completely agree with you. That's the double-edged sword. Do I pay a company for a lot of months to become organically number one? Or do I pay a company for 3 or so months and I'm always number one?
But one thing to note
is real estate.
Is you could spend a year trying to rank with SEO, and then some new guy comes in and spends a little bit more money, and all of a sudden he's still going to be ahead of you. Yeah. Ads always come up before the regular.
In my opinion, that's
search.
why I think it's better if you're so worried about being number one on Google. Do ads, Google ads,
and you should be concerned.
That'll make you number one every time.
Google is so important.
Yeah,
Google's got so much power. It's crazy.
My personal preference is, yes, SEO is important. I think if you want to be number one, you can do Google ads, get with a great company. They get your cost per click down where you're going to be number one majority of the time.
Yeah, and again, with paid advertising, there's a million different avenues. I know we already talked about, Facebook, Instagram, all of those. One thing to note is that content, social media management, those all go hand in hand to make a good, successful campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to have those base foundations. Anytime I'm working with somebody that has never done anything online, right? It's like, again, like you were saying, some older company that has a really cool product. They have salesmen that have been just, doing cold calls, whatever it may be. They've never done anything online. All of a sudden they think, hey, I know I need to do paid ads, but I have never done them. The very first thing I always tell them is we need to set up those foundations first.
Yes.
That's why it's good that we put paid advertising at the end, because you do need to have all of those other 3 things in order to really find good success doing digital marketing.
Yeah, I think that there's a natural order that needs to happen when you go into the digital marketing space for your company. You don't just jump to paid ads.
Yeah.
I need to make sure my website's good. I need to make sure that
if you're sending traffic places, you got to make sure that's clean.
Yeah, so we make sure the website's good. You got to make sure that your Facebook and Instagram look up to par and they don't look trash.
And I think a good example, and a lot of people don't know this, but when you're running ads on Facebook, for example, a lot of the time people will click on your ad and they go and check out your profile to see if you're even a legitimate company.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there that are just they're not legitimate, and they're doing digital marketing, and you can tell that they're not legitimate once you get their Facebook page.
That's one of my pet peeves. When I'm scrolling Instagram and I see a cool ad and for a product or a service, and I click on it and it says, this user doesn't have an Instagram. They only have a Facebook page. It bugs me so bad.
I will not ever buy from that.
Same.
That's so sketchy.
It immediately turns me off of that whole company when they don't have an Instagram and they're promoting on Instagram. Bugs the shit out of me. So.
Yeah. In fact, just the other day, I saw this. It was on the news where these people were buying pumpkins that they saw in an advertisement. Right. It was a pumpkin, and it was a really cool pumpkin. I guess there was a light or like a projector inside, and it would change the faces on the pumpkins.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. And so.
And you saw this ad where?
It wasn't even an ad. This was on the news.
It was a news story.
And so what people were doing is they were buying these products on Facebook, and when they got the product, it was like a little tiny pumpkin that was plastic, and it had nothing like the ad itself. And so I even tried to do a deep dive, and when I can't remember the name of the actual company that was doing it, but when I got to their page, I looked at it, I'm like, I would have never bought anything from this. I would have never. I can tell these are all so fake. Like, everything is so
sketchy.
Foreign. It looks like a foreign country, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the article was about. People couldn't even get their money back. Luckily, Facebook was like, hey, we've noted this. We're going to be keeping an eye on this company, make sure that they're legit. And Facebook does those type of things to keep their ecosystem healthy. That's just a good thing that Facebook does, and props to Facebook for doing that.
No, that's super interesting. And I like I said, I completely agree with you. Like, when I look at ads, it's our space. So like when we're going through Facebook or Instagram ads, we can tell pretty quick how about that company.
Yeah.
If they have a Facebook, if they have an Instagram, what their pages look like, and we have a really good feel for that. But maybe for you guys listening and watching right now is maybe do a little research before you start buying stuff on ads too.
Yeah.
And check out how the company feels.
And from a business owner standpoint, make sure you're not that company.
Yeah.
Make sure your presence is top notch.
Okay. If you are running ads right now on Facebook as a company and you don't have an Instagram, shame on you.
Not doing it right.
Bad. Change your ways right now and make an Instagram and link it to your Facebook right now. Okay?
Make posts.
And make posts.
Be social.
Yeah, and be social on social media. That's the big thing. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with the paid advertising agency is the importance of landing pages. So when we start marketing on Facebook or those things, what's the importance of a landing page because of trackability? What is that relationship?
Yeah, so with landing pages, it really depends on the actual company, right? That's the way I like to separate these.
Like product versus service?
Well, it would be if your end goal is to get a lead, then that would be a place where you'd want to do landing pages. If your end goal is to actually sell something online and your website sells and can take payment and everything, you don't necessarily need to use landing pages. The only time I'd really recommend using landing pages in that case is for like a special sale. Like, for example, Halloween, right? If you're doing a Halloween sale, you can kind of make a custom page that shows, hey, these are what we're selling for Halloween. But when you're selling products online, you can track almost everything through Facebook, through Instagram, through Google.
The reason I brought it up is because I think that there's business owners out there that have a Facebook or Instagram page, and and Facebook will pop up and you have ad credit and they want to run an ad and they make a little ad and it just says push them to the website.
Right.
And so I just wanted to bring that up, that it's not always the best to push them to a website.
You want to know where your traffic is going.
Exactly.
Like if you're selling something that is, for example, let's say you're selling decals for a Raptor. You don't want to send traffic to a page that's talking about decals for a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
That's going to be confusing. Or even just decals all in general. If the ad is showing a Raptor, I want to buy a Raptor wrap.
Yes.
And so that's where you just have to keep in mind where that traffic is going, and it needs to align with what the ad is actually showing.
And that's a good question. So if there's a business owner and a business out there right now that has an ad agency that is doing paid ads for them, it will be it's worth a conversation to say, hey, what's the importance of landing pages? Are you guys utilizing landing pages, or why are we just sending them to my website, or what's the end goal? And that's a really constructive conversation that you can have with your paid advertising agency.
Yeah.
Now, so those are the 4 different types of agencies we've talked about. So just to recap real quick, is the content agency, the social media management agency, the SEO house, and the paid advertising agency, okay?
Right.
The biggest thing, and my final thought on anything that you do online, we've talked about sales and marketing, and the biggest thing is for you to provide value. If you're providing value in your products and services, and you're offering people value, they're much more likely to follow, like, interact, comment, subscribe, interact. Like, all of that goes with value.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, if you look at your posts, I want to know how much % of them are actually providing value to your clients.
Right.
That would be a good starting point for you. And if you're using an agency, look to see if they're just selling your product 100% of the time. Hey, we have this, buy now. Hey, we have this, buy now. Rather than providing actual value to your clients and potential customers.
Right.
So,
well said.
One thing I want to say is, if you guys have any questions about this,
you can always reach out.
Follow us.
Yes.
Leave a comment down below if you're watching YouTube, if you're listening on a Spotify or Apple.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as where you can reach us, you can get us on Facebook, Instagram, at Monarch Social Brand. This podcast is obviously on Apple Music, or is it Apple Music, or is it Apple Podcasts?
It's Apple Music, I believe, or Apple Podcasts. I don't know.
I use Spotify.
We'll figure it out.
And it's on Spotify as well. And of course, YouTube.
Yeah.
Same names. And then you can also check out our website. It's monarchsocialbrand.com.
So we hope that we brought you a lot of value this episode. We just kind of wanted to set the scene of what you can do with an agency.
And expect, like, what expectations when you're shopping.
Exactly. So for next week's episode, we're going to be going over
Facebook?
All things Facebook.
All things Facebook.
And we're not doing paid. We're not doing paid. It's all what you can do to make your page better, what it should look like, what it should feel like. So if you're struggling with Facebook and getting some traction and interaction on there, that's what we're going to be talking about next week. So don't forget to tune in.
Don't forget. And like I said, follow us on YouTube. That's where you'll be able to see this video. And
we'll see you next week.
We'll catch you on the next one.